Hi dear students, welcome to Shriram's IAS. I am Kavita. In this lecture, we will be discussing about the anthropology optional. So I have divided this lecture into two parts. In part 1, we will be discussing what is anthropology optional and what is the relevance of anthropology optional in your overall UPSC Civil Services examination preparation. And in part 2, I will be discussing what is the scoring potential of anthropology optional, what are the frequently asked questions for anthropology optional, and also why it is important to choose this optional subject, and so on. So let us begin with part 1 now. So before we begin our discussion about what is anthropology and its relevance in our preparation, first I would like to give you some important information, that is a comprehensive batch on anthropology optional by Shriram's IAS on an academy platform is beginning on July 17th. Okay, the new batch on anthropology optional by Shriram's IAS on Unacademy platform is beginning on July 17th, and the batch is between 2 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. The classes will be held between Monday to Friday every week, and the teachers are myself, Kavita K, and Tirumurugan sir. So in case you have not enrolled for this course, you can do it so immediately. Then we also have a foundation batch for UPSC Civil Services Examination with Shriram's IAS. It is a comprehensive batch on UPSC Civil Services Examination for the year 2024. So this batch covers 100% of the UPSC syllabus in an integrated manner. So when you enroll for this comprehensive batch, you will get complete preparation for the preliminary examination, main examination, and the interview stages, which are the three important stages of the civil services examination. So you will have the preparation in a structured manner by the top educators in the country. So you can enroll for the general studies course as well as for the anthropology optional course. Also, we have a 25% off on all the UPSC Civil Service Examination subscriptions, and this is only up to 15th of July. So you can avail this discount offer which is going on right now to take admission. So now coming to our subject. Welcome to the world of anthropology. In this lecture, we will be discussing the introduction part. So I will be giving you an introduction about what is the subject anthropology, because I'm sure many of you all wouldn't have even heard this term called as anthropology until you started your UPSC journey, isn't it? So many students during their school or college days would have never heard of this subject, but at least now you are fortunate to know what is anthropology. So in this lecture, I will be giving you an introduction into what is the subject anthropology, and then I will also take you through the relevance of this subject anthropology in the UPSC Civil Services Examination preparation. So how the anthropology optional is not just enabling you to score very good in your optional papers, but also how the knowledge of anthropology will help you score better, will give you knowledge and will help you to score better in the other subjects, that is the GS subjects, and also help you become a better administrator. Okay, so these are the points which we shall be discussing in this lecture, which is part 1, and in part 2 we shall be discussing the other side headings. Okay, so let's begin now. First, what is anthropology? Anthropology is derived from the Greek words anthropos, which means human, anthropos, which means man or human, and logos, which means study. So anthropology can be divided into two words, anthropos, which means human, and logos, which means study. So the term anthropology means the study of human beings. the study of man, the study of ourselves. This is anthropology. Okay. So anthropology is the scientific study of humans, and it is keeping in mind both the past and the present, including the cultural, social and the physical development. So we have various disciplines which study man or humans, isn't it? We have psychology, we have sociology, we have archaeology, we have history. So like that, we have various disciplines which study humans. However, anthropology is a holistic discipline, right? So anthropology is the scientific study of human beings in space and time. So here only in anthropology we study humans across different geographical regions and historical periods, right? So across different, what do we mean by space? So we are studying human beings across different geographical regions. And when we say time, it means we are studying humans in different historical periods. So Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic. So like that, across different historic ages, we are studying the evolution and the development of man. So here when we say evolution, we are not limited only to the biological or the physical evolution. We are studying the evolution of man, both in space, that is across different geographical regions and across different historical periods, along with his culture, along with his society and his physical development. And this is what makes anthropology unique, because all the other subjects study only one particular aspect of man or human being, isn't it? So the psychologists study the man's mind, right? So physicians or doctors, they study the anatomy of our body, right? Then historians study the historical time periods, and in evolutionary studies, we study the various developmental stages of evolution of man. Whereas anthropology is the only subject where we study all of this together so that we get a complete holistic perspective. So the sociologists study only the society of humans, right? So whereas anthropologists, we study the society, the cultural aspects, the physical development, the evolutionary aspects, the genetic aspects, all of this together from a 360-degree point of view. That is what we call it as holistic study or holism. And that is what makes anthropology unique from all other disciplines which study man. According to Alfred Kroeber, anthropology is the most scientific of all humanities and the most humanistic of all the sciences. Okay, I will repeat it once again. According to Alfred Kroeber, anthropology is the most scientific of all humanities and the most humanistic of all sciences. So this shows us how much of scientific element and how much of humanistic, perspective is there in anthropology. Okay, so anthropology is a scientific study of the human beings, both past and present. So we are including the cultural component, the societal or the social component, and the physical development of man across space and time. So we explore the vast diversity of human cultures, societies, and behaviors across different geographical regions and historical periods. So I believe now we have got at least a gist of what anthropology is, right? So you know it is a scientific study of man where we are not just focusing only on the physical development but on the overall development of the man across different geographical areas and in different time periods. Fine. So now the next important questions which most students will have is, so what is the relevance or what is the importance or what is the use of taking this subject as an optional subject, and how is it going to help me in my GS preparation? That is this knowledge going to help me in preparation for the general studies as well? Or is this knowledge of the optional subject going to help me in any ways when I'm going to become an administrator, be it an IAS or IPS, IRS, IFS, whatever you dream of, right? So we will be discussing that now. Relevance of anthropology in UPSC Civil Services examination. First, holistic understanding. So just now I told you what we mean by holism or holistic, right? So when we study anthropology, we get a complete or a comprehensive understanding of various aspects of the society, various aspects of the human society, different cultures, behaviors, okay? So this knowledge which we get about the understanding of the various societies and cultures enables us to analyze and address various social issues. So we know that Indian society is one component of GS paper 1. So this subject will help you in answering those questions, and also as an administrator to address and analyze various social issues, policies and challenges which you will come across. So we know that being an administrator, whether it is an IAS or an IPS, IRS, IFS, whatever it is, you will be actively involved in policy formulation, making programs, implementation of the policies, and you will have to deal with people from different walks of life, from different sections, from different segments, from different areas, from diverse cultural backgrounds, different languages, and so on. So this understanding of the different human societies and the perspective which we get about the different cultures and the uniqueness and how we should conceive each and every culture, this knowledge will definitely help you as an administrator in whichever role you take up. Okay? Then, anthropology is an interdisciplinary approach. So, as I already told you, there are various disciplines or various subjects which study human beings or man. So, take for example sociology. Sociology studies the society of man. Psychologists or psychology study the mind of man, right? Then in biology we study the anatomy. In linguistics, we study the origin and development of language, right? We study phonetics and many more. And archaeology. So in archaeology, our motto is to understand the past, okay, from whatever remains which we get now. So they might be skeletal remains, sorry, it is skeletal remains, or they might be cultural remains. So we are recreating the past with the remains or whatever we have at present, whatever we have right now, whatever remains we have right now. Utilizing that, we are trying to recreate the past. That is what the that is how archaeology works, right? So anthropology has gained knowledge, takes up knowledge from each one of these disciplines, be it sociology, history, archaeology, psychology, biology, linguistics, all of this, and this interdisciplinary approach enhances our critical thinking. It improves our analytical skills, and it also develops in us the ability to connect to different aspects of the society. Correct? So we will be studying about various cultures. We will be studying about the nature of culture, the nature of society, right? So what is the social structure? All of this, we will get a wide perspective about various aspects of the society, which will enable us to think critically and analytically. So that will again help you to serve as a better administrator. Okay. Then we have cultural sensitivity. That is, by studying anthropology, we develop in ourselves. That is, we start nurturing cultural sensitivity and appreciation for diversity. We know very well how diverse a country is, isn't it? From north to south, from east to west, you can find there's so much of diversity in our culture. our country is a melting pot of races, right? So we have diversity in food patterns, in geographies, in climatic conditions, in the dressing patterns, in the language which we speak, in the festivals which we celebrate, in the cultural aspects, the traditions which we follow, our practices, ideology, thinking. So like there's so much of diversity throughout our length and breadth of the country. So as an administrator, you can be posted in any nook and corner of the country, and we must have the mindset to look at a culture from its point of view. Many a times what happens is, before we study anthropology, we have certain apprehensions towards certain cultures based on the people's food habits or their language or their dressing pattern or their cultural practices whatsoever, right? But once we study anthropology, we understand that every cultural practice or culture, according to ecological anthropologists, is nothing but an adaptation to the environment. So if you see, if you take the example of Karnataka, here ragi ball is a staple food, right? Why is it so? Because ragi is extensively grown in every, most of the part of Karnataka. So because there is abundance, and why is that so? Because the soil and the climatic conditions, the soil, the geographical and the climatic conditions here suit the cultivation of crop, cultivation of ragi crop, right? So because ragi is extensively grown here, you can find that ragi ball is a staple food. Majority of the people in Karnataka consume ragi ball either for lunch or for dinner, right? Same is the case with North Indian belt. If you see in that North Indian belt, there is extensive cultivation of wheat, as a result of which chapati or roti is a staple food there, right? So, when we study anthropology, we understand that not just the food habits, every aspect of our culture. So, our culture is nothing but it is inclusive of our language, our food habits, our dressing patterns, our traditions, our festivals, all of this which we practice in our life, right? This is an essential part of our culture. So when we study anthropology, we will realize that every cultural aspect, every culture is unique. And only if you study a particular culture as being a member of that culture, that is, as an insider, you will understand why they have such practices, why they have these cultural habits or practices or food habits or dressing pattern and so on. So we will start looking objectively at that culture, right? So we will be discussing topics like ethnocentrism and cultural relativism, which will make us understand this concept in depth, that we have to look at a culture from that person's point of view, that is, as being a member of that particular culture and not as an outsider. Because as an outsider, if we look at a culture, we will compare that culture with our own culture and we will have biases, isn't it? So, when this subject anthropology nurtures cultural sensitivity in us and we start appreciating the diverse culture in a country, so it will become very easy for you to accept diversity in cultures, accept diversity in different people's culture, their habits, their language, and to serve them better. Okay. So, and this quality is very, very essential for any civil servant. So it because you will be working with people from different backgrounds, from different communities, regions, so that you can empathize with them and you can provide the best service that they deserve, isn't it? So it creates a sense of cultural sensitivity and appreciation, and it helps us to empathize with the people, which is a very, very important quality as a civil servant. Fine. Next, anthropology also equips the aspirants with the necessary tools to understand social dynamics, including social structures, institutions, and processes. So, we have few topics in Indian society in paper 2 anthropology, wherein we will be discussing about the traditional basis of Indian social system. We will be discussing topics like caste system and about the various topics in Indian society related to the religions, various religions like Jainism, Buddhism, Islam, Christianity, how each of these religions have formed the important social fabric of a society, and how each one of these are impacting our society, in what ways they are creating an impact in our society. So there are many topics in our syllabus which will enable us to understand the social dynamics, that is the changes which is happening in our society. So we will be studying topics like the media and the social change, how media has impacted our Indian society, then Panchayat Raj institutions. So how crucial Panchayat Raj institutions are in our country, and how they are capable of bringing about a change in the society, right? And also, we will be discussing many similar topics. So we will understand the social structures. So we have various theories which deal with this social structures, social institutions, like a family is a social institution, isn't it? Marriage is an institution. So all of these institutions, and we have various theories which deal with each one of these. Like we have structuralism, functionalism, structural functionalism. Okay, then we have the theories like the culture and personality. We have theories like cultural materialism, symbolic and interpretive theories, okay, classical evolutionism, and so on, in which we discuss in detail about all of this. And this knowledge will enable us to analyze social change. So how social change has happened. So what are the social changes which have happened, including processes like Sanskritization, Westernization, globalization, how the caste system has evolved over the period of time, how caste system was rigid in pre-independence India, and how it has changed now. What is the significance of caste in present day situation, where versus what was the significance and importance of caste system in the earlier days. So like that, we will be discussing many important topics in Indian society, which will again help you in your Indian society topics in GS paper 1, and also it will help you to analyze these factors, including the social change, developmental issues, and policies for inclusive growth, which will definitely help you as an administrator in better decision making. Then, in anthropology, we are more skewed towards the study of the tribal population. So, even in sociology, we study the society. But what is the difference between sociology and anthropology? In anthropology, we study various social institutions and cultural aspects, and it is more skewed towards the tribal population. So here when we are discussing topics like family or marriage or kinship or religious organization, political organization, we will be studying about the tribal married life, about the family types that is existing among the tribal population. So what are the different kinds of religion among the tribal population, like animism, animatism, totemism, bongaism, and so on. So now just don't listen to these words and get scared that what are all these words, I don't know. These are all very very simple terms, okay, and these are very very interesting topics. So as and how we discuss each and every topic, you will understand what it means. So we will be more and more focused towards studying the tribal population, their culture, their way of life, their religious organization, how is political organization like a band in a tribal setup. So this is what we will be more focused upon, and this is what differentiates anthropology from sociology. Okay, so since anthropology gives a lot of emphasis on the tribal and marginalized communities, this knowledge which you gain will be a very good asset for you as an administrator working in areas where there are diverse population, so that you can make better policies for them. So you might be posted in some northeastern state or in some central Indian state, right, where we have a major tribal population, or even otherwise in larger states also we have small tiny tribal populations here and there, isn't it? So that is why we have different set of administration as Schedule 5 and Schedule 6. Okay, don't worry, we will be discussing in detail about Schedule 5 and Schedule 6 in our lectures. So just understand that wherever you are posted, in whichever state, you will be supposed to deal with different people from different backgrounds. They might be from tribal background, they might be marginalized communities, okay, from different sections, from different strata of the society. So this knowledge about the tribes and the problems which they have faced and what is their culture and why are the tribes unique or different, how their culture is different from the rest of us, and why it is important to consider all of these when we are making any policies or programs for tribal development. All of this we will be discussing in depth in our comprehensive course, and this will definitely enable you in making better policies and addressing the unique challenges faced by these communities. So we know that one policy does not fit all, isn't it? So whatever policies which we make for the rest of people might not be applicable to the tribal areas because their geography is unique, their culture is unique, their language is unique. So that is why we have a separate system of administration for the tribal areas and the scheduled areas under Schedule 5 and Schedule 6. So we will be discussing in depth about Schedule 5 and Schedule 6 in our future classes. Okay. Next. So anthropology involves a lot of field work. Okay, so field work means the researcher or the anthropologist who wants to study a particular community or a particular culture. He has to go to that region, he has to mingle with them, become a part and parcel of the society, okay, become like one of their members, member of that community. He has to drink with them, he has to dance with them, he has to participate in his day-to-day activities, and he has to stay with them at least for a minimum of 3 to 4 years or 2 cycles, what we call it as. So by cycle we mean the sowing season and the growing of the crops, and then the harvesting season, and what are all the celebrations or the festival which happen in one full year. So like that, at least minimum of 2 years, that is 2 cycles, the researcher has to stay along with the natives in order to study their culture and understand them. But however, please do not worry, we do not have any practical aspect in anthropology. Here we will only be studying how we have to do anthropological fieldwork as a person theoretically only. Okay, so we will only theoretically study how to do field work. That is, what is participant observation, what is non-participant observation, how you have to mingle with the natives, all of this. So only theoretically we will be studying, and we need not go to any tribal hamlet or any island and mingle with the tribal population and study their culture. Okay, so because we have only theory in UPSC syllabus, we do not have any practical aspects, so you need not worry about this. So by studying all these fieldwork technology, right, so we will be studying topics in fieldwork like like fieldwork tradition anthropology, the tools to collect data, the distinction between method, methodology, and technique. We will be studying various tools for data collection like interview, observation, schedule, questionnaire, right? Then we will also be studying what is the meaning of case study, genealogy, and how to analyze and interpret the data which we have collected. So when we are doing research, we have to go stay with the natives, and we have to apply various tools of fieldwork study and collect sufficient data, and then we have to analyze and interpret of the data to arrive at the final conclusion. So all of this happens only in practicals, but however, as part of a UPSC syllabus, we will be only studying that from a theory as a theory subject. Okay, so this knowledge which you get because of fieldwork study, you will be having very good scientific temperament and observational abilities, and also knowledge about various research methods, which is very crucial for you when you become an administrator and you have to conduct surveys. Say you are posted in a land department, so there or you are posted as a DC. So in those cases, these knowledge will be very helpful for you because you will get very good knowledge about how to conduct surveys, assessments, policy evaluations, and so on. Fine. Further, anthropology raises various concerns about ethical considerations in research. So this knowledge is definitely going to help you in your GS4 paper, that is ethics, right? So this knowledge will help you a lot in making good answers in your GS4. So you will get lot of awareness about ethical considerations and policy formulation, implementation, and it also not just helps you score good marks in paper 4 but also helps you make sound ethical moral decisions as an administrator. So as an administrator you will be making decisions which is not just going to impact you and your family, but it is going to impact a larger section of the society. And that is why this examination is so tough and it challenges our toughness, right? So only the toughest who do not give up, who keep on their perseverance, and who with patience and perseverance continue their journey will succeed in this examination. And that is because you need this level of mental toughness, because whatever decision, even the smallest of decision which you make as an administrator is going to impact hundreds and thousands of people, right? In whatever post you are, whatever decision you make is going to impact a larger section of the society. So, and that is why here your ethical and moral considerations come into role. It is very important to have a good ethical and moral, uh, you know, um, moral and ethical mindfulness in order to make the right decisions at the right time. Okay, so here anthropology will definitely enable you to do that. Then also in anthropology, we will be discussing various topics like globalization, urbanization, and PISA Act, that is Panchayat Act. Okay, we will be discussing under paper 2 topics like modernization, westernization, Sanskritization, the study and significance of village in India. Then we will be studying about the various projects and the developmental activities undertaken for the tribal population and what are the problems faced by the tribes. So what are the problems faced by the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and what are the constitutional provisions available for their development. And we also discussed various topics like how modern democratic institutions like the Panchayat Raj institutions and how the welfare measures and developmental programs have created an impact on the tribal population and even on the Indian society. So whether any of these institutions have created some change in the society or not, and if it has created, so what are the changes or the development which we can observe or notice. We also discuss the concepts like political developments and ethnic conflicts, okay, regionalism, so unrest among the tribal population, and pseudo tribalism, which are all very important topics even from your general studies perspective, right? So we also study about the contributions of anthropology to the understanding of communalism, regionalism, and ethnic and political movements. We also study the role of anthropology in tribal and rural development as well. So all of this, all of these topics which I mentioned just now, it covers the contemporary issues. That is, these are all very important from your current affairs point of view, right? So we know that current affairs is very, very important for all the papers of the examination, be it for general studies or for optional subjects. Current affairs is very, very important. So by studying these topics in anthropology, you will be able to understand the current affairs topics in a much better way, right? These serve as the basis for your understanding of the topics of everyday relevance. So this knowledge will definitely help you to critically analyze and respond to various social challenges of the modern day world. Okay. Now, coming to the scoring potential. So many students nowadays have this question. whether they will be able to score a very good score, get a very good score with a particular optional. Because we all know that even though we have one essay paper, two language papers, four general studies paper, and two papers in optional subject, you can leverage your marks, you can improvise, or you can maximize your score by getting the best marks in the optional subject, isn't it? So even in GS, you need to definitely get a very good marks. There's no doubt about that. But still, your optional subject plays a crucial role in your overall score. So higher the optional score in your optional subject, higher are the chances that you will make it to the next stage of the examination, that is the interview stage, right? So scoring well in the optional subject is crucial. There is no secondary thought or there's no doubt about that. So you definitely have to maximize and get the very best score. And I can tell you in anthropology, with a proper structured preparation, you can aim to achieve 300 plus very comfortably. I won't say easily, comfortably, with a proper plan, with a proper strategy, with the right resources and the guidance. You can aim anywhere between 300 to 350. Okay, so do not worry about that. So in anthropology, in comparison to other optional subjects, it is not fluctuating too much. Even with a average preparation, you can think about scoring a good marks. And if you put in little more efforts, you can definitely get about 300 or 320 marks. Okay, so anthropology is an objective paper and it has a very clear and defined syllabus, and there is not much of updation in anthropology. You need not go to the newspapers or the current affair articles every single day and keep updating your anthropology notes every single day. But at the same time, there are very few topics which you need to update with the relevant current affairs, and we will tell you that. Okay, there's no need or there is no necessity that you need to update current affairs for all the chapters in anthropology. In only few chapters, like the recent acts, like recent forest act or the tribal issues, so there I will be telling you during the lectures that so and so act or bill is coming up, so how you have to incorporate that or how you have to add that to your notes now. Okay, so they do not worry about current events. There is no need for much updation except few topics which I will be telling you during the lectures. Okay, so anthropology has a well defined syllabus, and I have to tell you during the first glance of the syllabus. So you would have gone through the syllabus, and in the very first page you would have read characteristics of primates, primate taxonomy, primate behavior, comparative anatomy of apes and man, skeletal changes due to erect posture. Then you would have wondered, oh my god, there's so much technical terms, there's so much of science in this. I think the syllabus is very difficult. Do I still need to think of this? So do not worry. The syllabus looks, challenging, and the terms look as though it is very scary. But actually speaking, this entire chapter, that is 1.5, unit 1.5, that is the characteristics of primates, it can be read in just 4 pages. That is all the content that you have to read for that entire chapter. See, when we are studying primates, we are not studying each and everything about the primates, right? We are only studying the comparative aspects of primates and us human beings, how we are different from them, and what are the anatomical features, like say for example maxilla or mandible or the foramen magnum. Sorry, this is the foramen magnum. Here we have a hole in our brain, isn't it? So this is a cranium. The skull inside a head is called as a cranium. So there is a hole here in the cranium through which our brain extends as the spinal cord. So this is the foramen magnum. So where is the foramen magnum placed for us? Where it is for them. So what are the changes that happened in the maxilla, mandible, in the foramen magnum? So like this, there are hardly some 10 or 20 analytical terms, right? So technical terms. And in the very first class when we are beginning physical anthropology, when very first class when we are beginning the topic on apes, we will give you a detailed discussion about each one of these terms. So what is foramen magnum, what is frontal, parietal, occipital, okay, what do you mean by maxilla, what is mandible, All of this in much more detail, in complete detail, we will be discussing in the very first class, and in the subsequent lectures we only have to understand what's the change that happened with every evolutionary stage. That's all. Okay, so do not worry about this apes part, that is the characteristics of primates or the primate taxonomy and the various apes like the Australopithecus or Homo erectus, Homo habilis, Homo sapiens. So all of this we can do it easily. So do not worry. So even though the syllabus looks huge and vast, and actually if you start studying, it is not so. Okay, you can complete very comfortably, you can complete the entire anthropology syllabus within a period of 2.5 to 3 months, and then you can start your revisions again and again. So with focused preparation, the candidates can definitely score high marks in this optional subject. Thereby, you can improve your overall score in your civil services examination. Okay, then last but not the least, that is the personal interest and passion for the subject, right? So I already told you in the very first slide that anthropology is the study of man. It is a study of humans. So can there be anything else which can be more fascinating than the study of ourselves, right? So we will be studying about our physiology, we will be studying about our genetics, we will be studying about our society, our culture, how we evolved from Australopithecus right up to Homo sapiens sapiens, what were the changes, what were the anatomical changes which happened in every stage of evolution, and how we got the erect posture which we have right now, how we have our head placed over our shoulder now, what is the radius, what is the ulna, and how we have this movement, okay, and the movement of the thumb which our earlier apes do not have, and where we belong in our whole, in the entire primates chart, how we are placed, where we are placed, right? And how we are related to the chimpanzees or the orangutan or the gorillas, right? So what is our lineage and where are we placed in the chart? So all of this is very, very interesting topics, and you will definitely develop an interest towards it. Okay, so if you are curious to know more about yourself, then definitely anthropology is for you. So choosing anthropology as an optional subject allows candidates to have a lot of knowledge about themselves, their own society, and the study of their evolution. Okay, so once you are interested in a subject, you will not feel bored, or you will not feel burdened to study that n number of times, isn't it? We all know revision is the key, and the more number of times we revise, the better understanding and we get, and we can also frame and make better answers. So imagine if you have to read a particular subject again and again and again multiple times. You cannot do that if you do not like that subject, or if you're not interested, you're not passionate about that. But anthropology is such a wonderful subject, you will fall in love with that, there's no doubt about that. And once you study anthropology, you will believe that good, I'm fortunate to study this subject at least once in my lifetime. Okay, I can definitely assure that. So in our part 2, okay, so this is the part 1 of introduction to anthropology and the relevance of anthropology optional for the preparation of UPSC Civil Services examination. I have a part 2 of this anthropology subject, wherein I will be discussing about the different branches of anthropology, what is the scoring potential of anthropology and what is the current trend, and also frequently asked questions. So there are many students who frequently keep asking questions like, is it of too much scientific nature? Should I have a science background to choose this option? And many more. So I will be discussing all of these topics in the part 2 of this anthropology optional lecture. Okay, so I hope as of now you have got a clear understanding of what the anthropology subject is and why it is relevant for you to take up this optional subject, wherein it will also help your preparation as well as your understanding of the society and serve as better administrator in whichever role you take up. Okay, So I hope you got a good understanding. I will meet you in the next lecture. Until then, take care. Bye. Have a good day.